Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, and man, if I'm grinning ear to ear, it's because I like the new look on that Geo Pro. Take a look at this and let me know what you think as we go through this video in the comments section. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Haylett Nation, and for all the returning members of the RV Nerd Herd, you're in for a treat because this thing is awesome. It's a little bit of a case of brand new look, same great taste, but they've done a couple things really based on consumer feedback where they have done things like standardize the 12-volt tank heaters that in previous years were optional, and keeping on top of things and giving this that nice, new, fresh, fun look on the exterior. To me, that's really impressive coming from Rockwood, who is literally the oldest dog in ultralight camping. Rockwood is the oldest established ultralight brand out there. They're the number one ultralight brand in terms of volume of sales and pop-up sales. They're number one in 2 categories, which I think is really impressive. And I mean, and the Geo Pros, man, when they came out, they came in like a Miley Cyrus wrecking ball, and they've just been leaving a wake of happy customers behind them. Does that make sense? I don't know. Oops. I came in like a Geo Pro.
So we're gonna start by a little benchmark for an experiment. This RV just came in from the factory. The only thing powering it right now is my little portable 12-volt box and just the solar panel on the roof. We're going to see, starting at 12.5 volts of available juice there, what we're left with. Look at that. It just jumped to 12.6. That's interesting. I'll be interested to see if it recharges stuff, because what happens now, the RV just landed at the factory. I'm going to have all the lights screaming. We're going to open and close the slide in the awning. We're going to put it through some use. I will tell you, I do not have the refrigerator on right now, but just for general operations use, we're going to see how well that package keeps up. Now, right away, right when you step inside one of these, you're greeted by this large, open, airy, light and bright feeling. And I think it's a combination of that extremely vaulted roof, the very generous interior lighting package that they have in these, and the light color package, all kind of working together. But one of the more unsung qualities on this RV, I think it's something people really like, they just don't always consciously register it, is all of the window coverage in this thing. It opens the RV up, and it makes it look and feel so much larger. Like if you're over here in the dining, or if you're standing there at the kitchen, you got that extra large window, you can just peek your head outside and figure out why the kids are screaming bloody murder. But did you notice in that entry door, not only does it have a full window, it has something that I've been harping about in so many videos from so many brands. It isn't just thin shade ready, as it's called. It actually has the privacy shade built into it. Oh my lord, why are no other manufacturers doing this consistently? Why is this like almost exclusively a Rockwood thing? I know they're not the only ones doing it, but man, more brands need to jump on that bandwagon. This is a carpetless main deck flooring. It has ventless flooring. It's easy cleaning. By the way, that little black button that you see next to that drawer down there, that is the switch for your inverter. This RV comes with a factory inverter that can live power every single household outlet in this thing. It's not going to be able to run the refrigerator or the microwave, but that's what's kind of cool. Other than those things, those high power draw appliances, everything in a Geo Pro from the factory can be run via 12 volt or propane. And a good example of that over here is the fact that they actually use a dual power television. Usually when you say dual power, it means like propane or something. No, it's not. It's not a propane TV. It is a 110 and 12 volt TV. But if you take note here, it actually has a built-in DVD player, which is uncommon and kind of cool, because that goes right along with the Bluetooth stereo above. And that switch up there and that little sticker, that is telling us how to activate the Wi-Fi Ranger. And no silver bullets required, by the way. I'm really starting to date myself here with these references, I think. But the point I'm making here is that this RV has a built-in signal access point. It's not exactly a router. It's very similar to that. And if I call it a router, enough people are going to understand it. Now, this is a Camp Queen bed. That's just the standard thing that they do in these Geos because they are a smaller size mattress. Over here, though, it does come with a nice headboard, but you have an option. If you wanted to, you could remove that headboard block and you could slot in here a true queen bed. So it's a factory Camp Queen, but you have the option of making it a personal True Queen, which I think is kind of cool. Now, one of the questions people have sometimes is, okay, how much headroom is in here? Well, I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'm 6'2", 6'3", whatever, wearing a hat. I can walk right under this thing. My hat doesn't clip those knobs above my head or anything like that. It is just straightforward. It is simple. It is easy. It's exactly what I think you want in an RV. Now, something else that just kind of occurred to me as I almost bonked my head on the entertainment center. Look at the fit and the finish on here. They are just, it is always so right and so tight. There's not a lot of real gappy, crappy cabinetry. That's going to be a new nerdism right there. Gappy, crappy cabinetry. Maybe not my prettiest one, but it also does paint a picture, I think, especially in a bathroom. Hey, I'm going to lose my job one of these days. Regardless, what I'm getting at, the fit and the finish in this is always so great. Part of the reason for that is because they do use pocket screwed cabinetry in here. It's not stapled beaver puke, as a tongue-in-cheek way of phrasing it. There's nothing wrong with stapled fasteners, but when you have a screwed fastener, it really sucks those boards together, and I think that they do a better job overall. Flipping you back around here, we get a good look at the two single bunks there, but first, a look over here at the dining. If there was one thing I was going to change on this camper, and I hope you appreciate that I point this out, I'd get rid of the carpet there. And it's almost a little bit baffling to me that they do have carpet in that slide floor, considering it's not a floor flush slide, it's an above floor slide, which is traditionally easier from a production standpoint to swap around. I think what's happening right now is it's no secret that the RV industry is under huge production demand, and I just don't think that they're really willing to change the Colonel's secret recipe. And am I just forgetting? Or are these little light-colored accents in the fascia new? I like that. I like that just little bright pop right there. Just a little snap, a little Thanos snap of brightness. Now, the front window has a pleated shade, but everything else will have those nice night roller shades. You see that the dinette can fold down into a sleeper, and there's a little bonus drawer below there. One of the other cool things in Rockwood production, and if you watch our factory video tour series where we've walked through Rockwood production, and I can leave you some links to those if you're curious, anything that is load-bearing, so like that dinette or the bed base or the structure of the RV, they're always a welded cage aluminum frame from Rockwood. And did you notice how every window opens here, which I think is pretty cool. Another thing, because this is a slide out, that is a full 4-person dinette that, you know, the 19BH, the non-slide version of this floor plan, just can't quite provide. And let me give you a reference here. So, like, I'm a pretty decent sized doofus. I'm also a pretty decent sized guy. But you can see, I'm not smashed against the wall over here. There's room. You can see that there is legit room for another full-size adult beside me over here. 4 adults could sit at this dinette. Now, that's probably not going to happen a lot in this camper. I suspect this is going to be like an adult or 2 and a couple kids. I can see this being an amazing camper, by the way, for a single parent taking their kids out for the weekend. I think that that is a segment of the RV industry that we don't acknowledge very often. We refer to everything as family models or couples campers. There's a lot of single parents out there, through one reason or another, that just want to take their kids out and have a fun weekend and build some memories. You know, there's different kinds of households. I come from a funky, weird household, but, you know, we're all here, and I'm not totally damaged as a result. But one of the things I want to point out, this camper could potentially sleep 5, I think, because I don't call this dinette a 2-sleeper. It drives me crazy when I see a 2-bench dinette listed as a 2-person sleeper. Yeah, right. Maybe if it's a pair of Yorkshire Terriers, whatever. The thing I want to mention here is a little pro tip from your Uncle Josh. Bring along an extra little folding stool or chair. Ooh, I'm getting a good look at the double chin here, aren't I? So that basically you can have seat number 5 over here off the end of the dinette. That is a really handy extra. If it's raining, could you imagine if the weatherman got it wrong? That's never happened, has it? Well, it's a nice way to really be able to still keep the whole family around here, whether you're going to play a board game, play some cards, just keep everybody involved, or, I don't know, maybe a little... Is there a little collapsible high chair if you got a baby that's going to grow into the camper? I can see that working over here. You can just store it in the front passenger because there's tons of room there. So speaking of sleeping,
when that table folds out, which by the way, notice it's just a single post table. It brackets against the wall. Sorry, I saw something shiny. My RV ADHD kicked in, but it's mostly a no knee knocker. You know, there is the one post, but I move around that table all the time. I don't feel like there's something constantly in my way. And since that post is all the way at the end of the table, if you like to kind of push on the table when you stand up to help you get in or out, that is very sturdy and very stable. But those black things, those bumpers there, that is the little sleeper adjustment. But your primary sleeping space will either be on the bed up front or back here. And this is an area I don't always cover as well as I think I should. By the way, one other little thing, it does almost surprise me. There's nothing wrong with it. I am surprised to almost see an old school like pop-up style thermostat in here. This only runs the propane, by the way, or the furnace, by the way, because the air conditioner is all controlled up here, and that's probably why they do it. But it does surprise me that it's not like a newer digital model. I guess I only need it for the furnace. It works. It just, I don't know, that one kind of jumps at me for some reason in this model. But your bunks. Though that upper window has the same knockout nightshade that we saw over in the dining space, and I love those extra outlets. These are easy to miss, and again, on those rainy days when you got that angsty pre-teenager, love my daughter, but anyway, those are a nice little godsend feature right there. Now you're probably noticing the ladder. Obviously, that's not its intended position. It's going to slide down here. But you get it out of the way, and what's cool is you can access that cargo bunk space. And did you notice how this has separate individualized curtains so that the kids aren't fighting over the same curtain, or the kid in the lower bunk isn't yanking on the curtain from too far away? By the way, remember that solar test we did? Despite having run the slide, all the lights have been screaming this entire time, and I had to take a break so that this could get checked in. And running the awning in and out a couple times, we're still holding fast. It just dropped to 12.4 there. But, I mean, I am really working this thing, and it's holding up pretty well. It's been about an hour since I started, and we've gone down 0.1. Not too bad. But back over here, the kitchen space. That is a standard 12-volt refrigerator, and they intentionally go with one that's a little smaller than you sometimes find in the marketplace so that it is not a super-duper power hog. Now, up here, you have your command center. This is where, what's nice is all of our interior lights are just on one switch, but you can still control them individually. That is really nice. If it's like getting late, you don't want a ton of bright light in the RV, you only want one or two lights, you can still control that. Or basically, once you turn the lights on, you could just always use these to activate them. But this also has a hidden version of the in-command system. What you can do is you can grab your phone, and basically you can control the stuff off of this panel right off your phone right there by just scanning that little QR code, which is, I don't know, pretty simple. So this will download the app, and that will connect you to this panel, which is cool. So it's very direct, very simple. It's easy. This little sticker over here, by the way, is advising us that this RV comes with a factory-equipped tire pressure monitoring system. We'll talk about that a little more as we go outdoors. Outdoors. I couldn't talk. Moving on. Let's open the kitchen up, shall we? Again, this is all pocket screwed cabinetry. The standard up front there, or up top, is a standard microwave, but there is a convection microwave option. Similarly, you see that big pocket of storage below the stovetop. This is the standard factory arrangement right here, maximum storage. And in a little camper like this, I think a lot of storage is a really big deal. But I know that some people really like an oven. Sometimes we will stock them with an oven. This is one that happens to not have an oven. Around the Midwest, most people aren't oven cooking. I know that there's some places, especially my friends down south, they like them morning cookies and biscuits, and I believe I've actually made a unintentionally cookies and biscuits song one point, one of my blooper things. I didn't realize the camera was running. Now, some people ask, why, oh why, is that bathroom door slotted? That's why. That big XL Max Air vent fan. If you want it to actually effectively exhaust air, it has to have an ability to pull air into the room. You know, otherwise you'd be creating a vacuum, a low air pressure zone. Now this is up high enough that unless you got one of those little Navy SEAL bendy snake cams, no one's going to be seeing anything anyway. The kids aren't tall enough to peek their little heads up there. The adults who are, their heads are too fat like mine to try to peek over the side.
Besides, we're all camping, we're all hot, we're all sweaty. It ain't pretty. Well, maybe I'm just speaking for myself. You know, my wife says that I may not necessarily be the most intelligent. I might not be the most physically fit, but I forgot what I was saying. Oh well, usually that's about the point where she trails off too. But my point to all this, I'm sorry, is that it needs to have an ability to suck air in to exhaust air out. The other thing is this RV has frameless windows. And they're awesome because they tilt open, which is great for rainy day airflow, but that means that they don't get as much airflow. So that big fan right there really helps overcome the potential deficiencies of these frameless windows like that big guy right there so that you can maintain good airflow in the RV. That's why those doors are slotted.
And just so you know, I joke about my wife or things she says all the time. That's all made up. My wife, she's a saint. You'd have to be to put up with somebody like me. This bathroom, by the way, very well executed, I think. For a small RV, you've got good leg space. You notice how that's a porcelain foot flush stool? Almost nobody else in a nice little single axle camper is doing stuff like that. And all the little Rockwood touches really come into play here. That extra little corner shelf gives you a place for like toothbrushes and stuff. And we're going to get to that in just a second because you're not seeing like a traditional sink. You've got the extra linen space, or I would say shampoo space, but you don't need to do that because Rockwoods give you that handy little removable toiletry caddy right there. All Rockwood travel trailers and fifth wheels always have that larger vent fan standard, by the way, and you're going to see that it comes with the factory roof vent cover as well. Now, full transparency, because this has that double vaulted ceiling, but the sidewalls are a little bit shorter. The sidewalls are only about 6'1", and then it vaults up like 5 inches in the middle. So it has a 6.5 foot interior clearance, but it's got a shorter sidewall height. My head needs to be in that bubble at about 6'3", and my head is cranked on an angle just a little bit like you saw. I'm not going to show off only tall showers. I'm going to show off tall showers, small showers, and everything in between. And this has a tub, and in a bunkhouse that makes a lot of sense, but pretty much all the Geo Pros do, with very few exceptions. And I think it's so that that shower curtain stays down in the tub and it doesn't end up like that and dribbling water all over the floor, because that's never a good thing to have happen. Now, obviously we've got very traditional on-off kind of shower head over here, but I mentioned a place for your toothbrushes. This RV has a little built into the shower mini corner sink. It's unconventional, it's kind of cool, it keeps things out of the way, and by the way, it makes a perfect little space for shower beers, yes sir. You can just put the ice in there, it'll just melt and dribble away and just go right down the drain. Absolutely no worries, right? Now, some manufacturers, you actually detach the shower head and that will become the sink faucet. Notice how Rockwood is still giving us 2 totally separate sink fixtures you can control independently, which is very neat and kind of cool. You can also basically set this up in ambush mode and blast somebody like a super soaker when they come around the corner. Really don't recommend that though. Now, one last thing here, and then we're going to close up the slide. The shower miser. This has become pretty common and well known through the RV industry. What it does is it will reroute your when you're boondocking. You can use this. It'll just reroute the water as it's warming up back into your fresh holding tank so that nothing's getting wasted down your gray tank because you only have the water you brought with you. Another thing is, how do you know when the water's ready? That blue piece will basically turn white once it hits 98 degrees or whatever the temperature is. I don't remember exactly. But you can sometimes see it here on the lot on a really screaming hot day when it's warmer in the campers. That will actually color change, like one of those old 1990s hyper shirts or whatever. And you can see I've left all the lights running. Back to our little solar experiment. 12.6 volts. It's basically, it has absolutely stood up to every single thing I've thrown at it. Now, it dropped a little bit when I was doing some higher power things like running the slide motor or the awning motor. But overall, it has basically absorbed everything I've thrown at it. Remember, I have not been running the refrigerator. This single 190 watt panel will extend your dry camp time. It will not give you indefinite dry camp time with that fridge. If you want to boondock, look at that, it just jumped up to 12.7. If you want to boondock a ton, you definitely want to consider expanded solar. You also very much want to consider additional and or better batteries with higher amp hour ratings. And if nothing else, a little portable, inverter generator is
always effective.
And closing the slide here for road mode. That's one of the good things about this camper. Starting right here on the bed, you see that obviously coming in from the entry door, you can get in, you can walk right between the refrigerator and the slide-out dinette fascia very easily. We can obviously get over here to the bunks. There's room to fully open and close the door unimpeded. We can totally get back here to the bathroom. I think that this one absolutely passes the road mode Cracker Barrel test. Now, normally, I'm a person, like, I know that I seem scatterbrained, and my work that I do here in my videos, it's very off the cuff. I'm not scripted whatsoever, but I'm a very organized person. And I really like symmetry. I like things to look the same on the left and the right and the up and the down. But RVs, by default, really aren't symmetrical because you have a door on one side and not the other. And I think that's why this really speaks to me, because this is going to be like a really common view of your camper right here. And it draws me in. It pulls me over here to the campsite of the RV where they've done a lot of good work. So you've got that easy tilt power awning with LED lighting below. The standard factory griddle cook station over here with the propane cooker hooker down below. You see that little paper flag flapping. But Rockwood always does one more thing. They're always the +1 hold my beer of RV builders with that extra little table that they have there. With things like that Westlake Radial Sport tire and wheel package with the basically 3-inch ground clearance axle lift and factory standard tire pressure monitoring. The stable steps that you have over there. And by the way, nice large entry handle, but a programmable deadbolt. This is I think a very easily overlooked quality on this camper. But something like this, I could see people liking Geo Pros to do some kayaking, some biking, some things like that. You don't always, or just hiking even, you don't always want to have your keys in your pocket and take the chance of losing them. So not needing your jingle jangle keys in your pocket, and sometimes you're wearing shorts when you're camping that don't have pockets, or if you're like mine, there's holes in the pockets because I wear clothes out and then I continue to wear them, you know, until every last thread it has snapped off the elastic band. I'm still wearing the underwear. Anybody else? Any other ladies have some husbands like that out there? Drives my wife nuts. She's like, "Don't you want new socks for Christmas?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I can still, you know, keep most of my toes in these. They're fine." my undershirts that I wear in the winter, the neck is baking so badly it looks like I crawl in through them from the neck first. Wow, I got way off topic for a long time. Apologies. Power tongue jack doing the heavy lifting for us, and a bigger trailer feature. And actually, this cost a chunk of money. A second propane tank and auto changeover regulator. Now, a note here for you. People go, what kind of batteries come with these? They don't. Most RVs do not come with a factory battery, but we include your first battery at no additional charge for you here at Haylett RV. There's a lot of things that we do for you at no additional charge, like show you how to use the camper, clean it, etc. What do you got there? Plug buddy, wherever I go, he goes. Remember those old commercials? Ah, man, I had my buddy. Holy cow, I really did. Everywhere I went, he went with me. They nailed it. Good look at the frameless windows here. Again, they tilt open for airflow, but our slide side windows slide open to get some really sweet cross breeze in there. Now, a really excellent feature on this floor plan is just the fact that it has a whole bunch of air right here. It's a big old wide open pass-through compartment. Little campers don't always have those. Similarly, you see down here, you've got a front stabilizers, not just rear stabilizers. And if I get down a little bit further, you see that you've also got that handy little sewer hose caddy right there, so that you don't need your black tank stinky slinky mixing up in here with your picnic table chairs and all that stuff. And speaking of black tank stuff, if we jump behind the axle here under the bunk area, you see where all the hookups are located. It is one shared dedicated outlet. And you see that little triangular piece, that extrusion sticking down? If you're going up a very steep incline, that right there is basically like a little scrubber where it will connect before you bump into your sewer stuff. But once again, I mean, you've got excellent ground clearance on these as a matter of that standardized package. Now, did you notice how I flipped that door open, but it didn't bang against the side of everything? Nice little anti-slam door right there. And this obviously goes into the bunk area. Don't forget, you've got a deadbolt for security right here. Plus, I like the fact that it is a frosty glass window for light, but to totally block that off, you know, so that the kids sleep in a little bit and maybe you get a chance to get a cup of coffee in you before they're Mountain Dew and marshmallows all over the campsite. You know, sometimes that's nice. I'm just saying. Handy little bullet latch. Keeps that lower bunk absolutely locked up in place. And this can, I think, fit little kid bikes pretty well. If you take the front tire off so you can turn the handlebars, you might be able to shove an adult bike in here. It really just kind of depends. These are backup camera ready. These also are all LED tail and marker lights. And something else I should have talked about when I was looking at the baggage doors. This has a key-alike system. So your entry door key, your deadbolt key, and your baggage door key, your outside shower key, they're all one key. And it's really, really nice that you don't have to walk around with a whole jingly bunch of keys like I do over here. Every time I take my keys off my pocket, I feel like I'm trying to entertain a baby. You ever have a baby crying in the waiting room and you're like, okay, please play with the keys, stop crying. That's how I feel every single day. And one of the things I really like to point out on these is the fact that along with the ladder, they have a walkable roof, both of which are not always found in single axle little campers like this. In typical Rockwood doing Rockwood things form, you know I had to say it at one point, right? The quality checkers inside, by the way, are operating the awning. That's not happening by magic. The big XL vent fan in the bathroom also comes accompanied with the full Max Air vent cover outside. Now, these run with a low-profile air conditioner. What I like about that is not the tallest point on the camper. Actually, I believe that Max Air vent cover is the tallest point, and I think the combination TV antenna, Wi-Fi Ranger antenna up there is also slightly taller. So if you're looking for something with a low overhead clearance, when you see the total height measurement on this, the air conditioner rides below that, which is kind of nice for like some garage door parking. Now, last year they standardized this, and I'm real happy to see it. The 190 watt Go Power Overlander package and charge controller is standard on these along with that 12 volt refrigerator. What you do have available as an option, though, and I'm guessing on this model it'd probably be located over there, maybe up front, is a second factory 190 watt panel. They run a couple $100, and I would really appreciate some feedback from you folks. What do you think about that? Is that something that we should start doing here at Haylett RV? For a general stock model, is the 190 watt package already sufficient? And then knowing that you can still expand or you could order something with an additional panel, is that okay? Like, what route should we be going with that? Because your feedback truly shapes so much of what we do here. And then again, as I mentioned, this is both the TV antenna as well as the Wi-Fi Ranger antenna, which is kind of cool. Basically, I think Company A bought Company B, so they were able to merge their technology, and that means one less seal point to worry about on the roof. So let me know what you think about the new graphics or the standardization of the tank heaters, things like that. Any questions you might have, I'm happy to answer those. I leave you a link in the video description where you can always check current pricing and availability, because that has been changing over rather violently, and putting a price in a video like this for you very quickly gets outdated. And when it comes to money, I don't want to get close, I want to get you right. So anytime anyone's interested, you can check our website, or if you'd like a custom build, like you want the second solar panel, you want the oven, give our team a call, we'll get you camping. The only thing we don't do is the hidden fees stuff. We don't like those either. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and until next time, everyone.